Turbine Potsdam empfängt die SGS Essen hier bei uns im Kabinenstadion. Wir kommen an, Stellen unserer Mannschaft, aber vorher brauchen wir sie. Die Fahne des ersten FC Turbine!
Und wenn er auf die andere Seite kommt?
Präsentiert die Fahne vom SGS zum Potsdam und den steht auf, denn wir für Potsdam Seite, wir haben ein Team, wir haben ein Weg und wir haben ein Ziel und das heißt Klassenerhalt. Und dafür brauchen wir euch. Also hier ist die Ausstellung des SGS Turbine. Neuer Trainer, neues Glück, er trainiert unser Team. Coach! Und hier kommt unsere Starthände im Tor mit der Nummer 30, präsentiert vom PCP. Bundesliga. Außerdem von Anfang an mit dabei präsentiert von SAP, unsere Nummer 5, Liga. Außerdem mit der Nummer 6 präsentiert von der ganzen Anfang Kanzler und Simon Marathi, Liga. F6 präsentiert unsere Nummer 7, unsere Nummer 9 wird präsentiert von unserem Spieltagspartner Liga. Die Mittelbank-Deutsche Sparkasse präsentiert unsere Nummer 11, Stellefahrt. Der Tierpark Heimlau präsentiert die Nummer 14, die Sache. Unsere Nummer 19 wird präsentiert von OEM Aluminium, Adisla. Potsdam präsentiert die Nummer 24, Caroline. Außerdem präsentiert Schachschreiber unsere Stadt mit der Nummer 31, Elli. Und sie macht unseren Anfangskader komplett mit der Nummer 50, präsentiert von der EVA Noah. Auf der Ersatzbank liegen Platz fürs Tor unter anderem mit der Nummer 29, präsentiert vom ERV Leslie. Und ebenfalls das Tor präsentiert von der TTG und Nummer 1 Anna. Es nehmen auf der Ersatzbank Platz mit der Nummer 16, präsentiert von und Maria. Erhält Konstantin, wir haben präsentiert mit der Nummer 22, Cornelia. Das Orthopädikum Potsdam präsentiert die Nummer 25, Suja. Unsere Nummer 27 wird präsentiert vom Filmpark Babelsberg, Flavia. Und sie macht unseren Kader heute gegen Essen komplett mit der Nummer 38, präsentiert von Schiene, Laura. Das ist unser Team und jetzt brauchen wir euch alle Hände vom ersten FC Turbine!
Raising the curtain on match day 6 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga, a clash of the two pure women's teams left in Germany's top flight. Not associated or linked with a men's outfit, Turbine Potsdam and SGS Essen fly a flag all of their own. And tonight, they clash under the floodlights at the Karl Liebknecht Stadion, with both intent on putting precious points on the board. Turbine Potsdam's name carries a great weight of tradition as a side crowned German champion 6 times before reunification in 1990 and 6 times since. But relegation in the 2022-23 campaign was a shock to the system after 6 consecutive top 4 finishes and 26 years in the Frauen Bundesliga. And their return this season has been a rough one, it's fair to say. 5 straight losses have seen them fail to put a point or a goal on the board, and the club have reacted quickly to avoid falling further behind in a relegation battle where just one team will prove ill-fated ahead of an expansion to 14 teams next season. The coaching duo of Dirk Heinrichs and Marco Gebhardt were relieved of their duties, and Austrian head coach Kurt Russ was drafted onto the hot seat. The 59-year-old admitted the last week has been intense, but that he's hoping to see a confident and determined performance from a crop of players he claims are ready to give their all to put their first points of the season on the board. Essen will of course have something to say about that though. Last season's surprise package, finishing 4th, they too have stumbled out of the blocks in the 24-25 campaign. 4 points from a possible 15 isn't quite what Markus Högner and co had in mind. But with their only win of the season so far coming against Carl Zeiss Jena, they want to complete the newly promoted double by taking maximum points against a Turbine Potsdam side who, I can tell you, features 4 changes in their starting lineup compared to the 3-0 loss to Freiburg. Mia Schmidt is drafted in at right back in an otherwise unchanged back 4. Japanese midfielder Zara Ito gets the nod to partner Caroline Kravchik at the base of midfield, while Ena Tadlitsa and Noah Zelim Hodzik have been tasked with leading the line and trying to open Potsdam's goal-scoring account for the season. As for Essen, head coach Markus Högner there, he has named an unchanged side despite a 3-1 defeat to Eintracht Frankfurt last time out. He admitted that he couldn't fault his side for the loss, but recognised that 60 good minutes and Natasha Kowalski's 3rd goal of the season ultimately weren't enough against the cool and confident Eagles. Tonight he's called for his charges to operate with the same mindset they had against Frankfurt, and believes that if they do so, that they'll take all 3 points back to the Ruhrpott with them tonight. Well, it's a crisp Friday evening, just a little south of Germany's capital, where we are hoping to get the ball rolling. Match day 6 in Germany's top flight, with what should be quite an entertaining affair, it has to be said. Turbine Potsdam, after their terrible start to the season, they are sat bottom of the standings, but nothing is lost just yet, and given the fact that Carl Zeiss Jena, their fellow newly promoted side, and Köln have only picked up a point apiece, there is a long way to go left in a relegation battle that will see just one side drop into the 2nd tier of German football. That's why they've made their head coaching change, Turbine Potsdam. Whether Kurt Russ can deliver a debut win against this enigmatic Essen side remains to be seen. The Friday night floodlights are on as we raise the curtain on match day 6 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga, with a clash of the two pure women's teams left in Germany's top flight as Turbine Potsdam play host to SGS Essen. James Thorogood, your match commentator, and delighted to have the pleasure of your company. What a night it promises to be. Two sides that haven't quite had things go their way at the start of this new season. Turbine Potsdam in particular. 5 straight losses to start the campaign that haven't seen them score a single goal. Was not exactly how they wanted to reintroduce themselves to life back in Germany's top tier after that shock relegation in 2023. But they brought in a new man in charge in the form of Kurt Russ, the 59-year-old Austrian head coach who has been quite the journeyman in coaching circles in Austria now, applying his trade in the Frauen Bundesliga and hoping to get off to a positive start here with Turbine Potsdam. He said his priority this week was to get to know the team and build a foundation of trust, and a positive result will certainly go a long way to helping secure that foundation. But SGS Essen are a very tricky side. Right now, attacking intent from the hosts. Sure, courage would have been a buzzword in training this week for Turbine Potsdam. Performances so far this season don't offer much source for hope. You go back to match day 1, a 2-0 loss here at the Karl Liebknecht Stadion. And they really were a very stubborn side as they forced the reigning and defending champions to resort to 2 set-piece goals in order to take all 3 points. But results since: a 2-0 loss to Werder Bremen, 6-0 defeat to Eintracht Frankfurt, and then back-to-back 3-0 losses against Leipzig here on home soil and Freiburg on the road last weekend. Ultimately, they've got nothing to lose. The only way is up. But they've given it away here cheaply to Natasha Kowalski, the danger woman for SGS Essen, though she isn't alone in that regard, it has to be said. Lily Purchler losing out there for Essen. Ina Viaden winning the throw-in for Turbine Potsdam. There, their new head coach, Kurt Russ, said the goal tonight against Essen is to play with confidence and determination. Sophia Winkler finding Laura Pux, one of the young, talented academy graduates that Essen boasts in their ranks. And now Kowalski finding Purchler on the run, and Fischer committed, but she got there. Chance still alive here for SGS Essen. Becca Sterner, ball into the box, looking for Ramona Meyer, who will battle away but lose out ultimately. Just for a second there, looked like it was going to open up for Essen and Lily Purchler. Some brave goalkeeping from Vanessa Fischer. Paula Flach stepping out to close down the space. One of the 2 summer signings in Essen's starting lineup that were brought in from Duisburg along with Vanessa Fürst, who is partnering Laura Pux at centre-back for Marcus Högner's side. No changes to his starting lineup following that 3-1 loss to Eintracht Frankfurt. Natasha Kowalski opening the scoring from the penalty spot with her third goal of the season. But after the hour mark, a Laura Freigang double was sandwiched either side of a goal for Geraldine Reuteler. Chance for Zelimodzic to advance the lines for Turbine Potsdam, but she runs out of steam as Paula Flach picks her pocket, but only momentarily. Here she is again. Young 20-year-old Bosnian international. Ultimately only had one player to pick out in the middle there for Turbine Potsdam, and that's part of their problem, is that they are hesitant to commit numbers into the most dangerous areas, fearing of course that they'll get caught at the back, which they have been on a number of occasions already this season. Ramona Meyer again making a nuisance of herself, but committing the foul in the eyes of our referee tonight, Julia Boyka, making her first top flight appearance of the season. The woman with the whistle. Meyer couldn't quite retain possession there as Potsdam turned it over. Just trying to switch the play to that left-hand side where there was more space. They've done it eventually, courtesy of the pass from Emilia Bernhardt. Now the long raking ball forward, ultimately breaking kindly. Brooks steps out well, but loses out. Right now, a very positive start to proceedings from this Turbine Potsdam side, and it's given Essen pause for thought in the opening exchanges. Just once have they been able to go through the gears. Otherwise, haven't quite dealt with the pressure being applied by this Potsdam side, but when they do break the lines, that's when they're dangerous, and Kowalski turned the corner to find Meyer. Elmatzi wants it in the middle and gets it. More options out wide on the right with Becca Sterner and Lili Purchler. Here is Purchler. First time cross. Punch clear by Fischer. Clearance not completed though. Back into the mix it goes. It might break for Purchler. Well, claims it got a touch on its way through, and they do have a corner here. SGS Essen, the first of the game for either side. But right now, those runs in behind from Lili Purchler are causing Potsdam problems. They have made the more promising start, but the threat that SGS Essen pose has already been underlined. And now, the set-piece specialist that is Natasha Kowalski will get a chance to try and pick out a teammate from this corner. Fizzed in and just about dealt with at the near post there. Kowalski finally Purchler on the overlap. Purchler's going to win another corner. Or not. Lots of calls for calm from the sidelines in the Turbine Potsdam ranks. They want confidence, they want control, they want courage. They don't want to do so by losing their shape, given away cheaply there by Fischer. Elmatzi turns the corner and another, but in the end had the door shut by Karolina Krawczyk. And Turbine Potsdam now trying to offer some threat in transition themselves. Final pass easily cut out there by Vanessa Fürst, looking up for options. Finds it in Elmatzi, who flicks the ball around the corner for Meyer, who's wrestled to ground. And the play is indeed brought back for a foul by Bernhardt on Ramona Meyer. As she's known, not the most prolific of strikers, but her impact is felt in every single encounter by the centre-backs that she comes up against. Tonight that is Bernhardt and Jennifer Kramer. Interesting here that it's not Natasha Kowalski taking the free kick, but Paula Flach. Trying to drop it in behind that back line. Zara Ito there with the header clear. Elmatzi first to the loose ball. Goes back to Vanessa Fürst. Pressure applied. And as a result, she takes the better safe than sorry approach by playing it all the way back to Sophia Winkler. Vanessa Fürst made 114 appearances for Duisburg, scoring 5 goals. Certainly a promising pickup for Essen from relegated Duisburg. Even harder times since their relegation due to the financial plight of the club as a whole, not just the women's team, but the women's team have suffered as a result. It is one of those harrowing tales of precaution for teams like Potsdam, for teams like Essen, who know how fragile life can be at the top. Right now, Kowalski trying to punish Turbine Potsdam for some poor passing, but Bernhardt with a tidy challenge there. Signed from Werder Bremen in the summer. Kurt Russ has got to be pleased with what he's seen from his side so far, though he will certainly have noted the threat that Essen have posed. Got to think the opening quarter of an hour here crucial in just setting the tone from the host perspective. 5 losses, no goals. The expectation is that Essen will pick up a victory, and really it's down to Essen how comfortable that victory is. Right now we've got the second corner of the game. Kowalski again sees her delivery turned away. Lots of movement for Paula Flach. Loose touch lets her down though.
Annalena, switch gleich mal um 4-2-3-1.
Bounce of the ball misjudged there by Elisa Grinchenko. Hint of a handball in the mix as well, but advantage ultimately played with Essen in possession now. Hooks looking to break the lines down that right wing for Becca Sterner, our Essen captain this evening. Neat little turn there by Vanessa Fürst after winning the ball back for Essen, and draws the foul from Valentina Limani. One of the clearer fouls that we'll see this evening in favour of Markus Högner's side. He highlighted the fact that in his eyes that Turbine Potsdam's current plight is not down to them having the wrong attitude. Feels they've had a bit of bad luck in a couple of games and believes they're still a very solid side even though they haven't scored yet, though Essen won't want to be the side they open their account against. Instead, Essen now looking to open their account this evening. Lily Puchler on the march, but her cross plucked out of the air by Vanessa Fischer. Essen haven't overcommitted forward, but there is a chance to break for the home side now. Limani. Close attention paid to her as she finds Selimovic. But again, it does feel like the familiar story for Turbine Potsdam, not just in this game, but their season as a whole. So many of their attacking moves just peter out when they hit the final third. It's one of the reasons they have struggled, not just to score goals, but create chances in general. SGS Essen had a pretty impressive defensive record last season, but have been a little bit leaky at the back at the start of this current campaign. Their only victory of the season so far coming against Carl Zeiss Jena on foreign soil a fortnight ago. Pressure applied on Limani, but fair in the eyes of the officials. Matzi now loses out. Kravchik brings it back well, and Selimovic looks for the early vertical. Scrappy in midfield between these two sides. It's exactly how Potsdam will want it. This cagey opening ultimately plays to their strengths and not those of Essen. As you see, when Essen settle into their rhythm, they string together a few proficient, fast passes. That's when they really look at their most dangerous. But Turbine Potsdam doing their best to try and stifle that at every opportunity. They're not going to be able to do it fully for the full 90 minutes, but they just simply have to limit Essen's ability to flex their muscles. And now Vanessa Fürst under pressure goes back to Sophia Winkler. Second ball is won by SGS Essen though. Becca Sterner thought about taking charge, but Lily Puchler did so instead. Paula Flach first with a poor pass, then with a poor challenge on Valentina Limani. Former Wolfsburg youth player Paula Flach, still just 21 years of age. When asked who the best opponent is that she's ever faced, she highlighted the fact that it's crazy how robust Alexandra Popp is. At Duisburg, Paula Flach often operated as the left-sided centre-back in a back three. Now seems to have found a home for herself at left-back for her new team. Essen having to be patient, but seemingly quite happy to do so. Up to them to pick and choose their moments when they inject a little bit of pace into the game. But right now, some disciplined and stubborn defending from Turbine Potsdam means they haven't quite hit the peak of their powers. Able to turn the corner, dig out the cross, doesn't find a teammate. Is that a foul on the edge of the area? Not in the eyes of Julia Boyke. Again, the runners were there for Turbine Potsdam, and the SGS Essen back line was high. The game plan is there, clearly to be identified for the home side. It's simply about execution now. Kurt Russ has given them the tools. He's put a few pacey players in the front line. But the passes need to be accurate for the punishment to be applied. And ultimately for Turbine Potsdam to do what they haven't been able to do in the first 5 games of the season, which is reward themselves in front of goal. Marathi did well there to hold off the challenge. He's given the referee's decision in her favour. Free kick wasn't taken from where the foul was committed, but Essen haven't exactly tried to advance their lines unfairly as a result. Still, it's now back with Sophia Winkler. 10 clean sheets last season. Strong case that she was amongst the best goalkeepers in the Frauen Bundesliga, if not the best, based on where expectation levels were for Essen at the start of the season and where they ended under Markus Högner. An incredible return. He was so proud of their defensive record in the previous campaign as well. One clean sheet to their name so far this season, though, coming in that 2-0 win against Karl Zeiss Jena. Now Kowalski, nice pass and turn of pace to break the lines, finding Purchler. Early ball in for Ramona Meyer, who was so distracted by trying to hold off her marker, she seemed to forget about needing to get a vital touch on the ball. This is when they are so proficient, Essen, when they move the ball quickly. Emilia Bernhardt providing enough of a presence to put off Ramona Meyer, who is still searching for her first goal of the season. She got 5 in the previous campaign. Ball given away a little too cheaply for the liking of the Turbine Potsdam sidelines there. Oh, Portula, that's a foul. Courtesy of Lina Viaden. She does say that her footballing idol, growing up with Sergio Ramos, so bringing that physical element to the game there with that challenge on Portula, making her presence felt at least. And it's one of the ways that you maybe need to approach handling the tricky customer that is Lily Portula. She is a bag of tricks, loves taking on her opponents in one-on-one situations. Free kick played in by Paula Flach. No flick on provided, but Paulina Plattner doing well there just to shield the ball to retain possession for SGS Essen, who can reset all the way to the back with Sophia Winkler. Oh, nice ball out wide to Paula Flach. Good ball in as well, though it's just behind all the bodies. That was a risky pass, but it's been pulled off by Turbine Potsdam. That one, not the case. Paula Flach with a nice interception. Laretta Elmatzi into feet for Ramona Meyer, looking to flick it round the corner for Flach, who's continued her run. Putting pressure on Kravchik, who has to go back to Fischer for the clearance. Tazlitsa has had little or nothing to work with so far. Laura Pux. Annalena Rieke dropping in there between the two centre-backs, affording Essen the option to advance the lines out wide, because Becca Sterner and Paula Flach can then push forward, knowing that there's an extra number to cover at the back. Annalena Rieke, 25 years old, and by Essen standards, she's a veteran, because she's one of only 3 players over the age of 21 in the starting lineup tonight. Vanessa Fürst is 22, Annalena Rieke 25, Ramona Meyer is the elder stateswoman at the age of 28. But that really underlines what Essen are all about. It's all about promoting young players and giving them a platform to prove themselves, and it's exactly what they're doing again. Their bigger problem over the years is ultimately that they, once providing that platform, become a selling club by nature, losing their biggest talents. But you look at pretty much every team in the top half of Germany's top flight, and you can point to a few players that have a background with SGS Essen. The good news for tonight's visitors is there was only one big loss on the transfer market for them last season in the form of Katarina Piljic, who joined Bayer Leverkusen. She really is the one that got away, but she was the only one. They've managed to otherwise keep their fantastic front four intact with Lily Portula, Natasha Kowalski, Laretta Elmatzi and Ramona Meyer. Those 4 for SGS Essen, combining for 22 goals and 16 assists last season. But credit to Turbine Potsdam, because They've stifled their talent so far through half an hour. Essen have certainly carried the greater threat in the opening half an hour, but clear-cut chances have been few and far between. Can maybe argue that the effort that Lily Puchla had from a very tight angle is as close as we've come to a clear-cut chance. Paula Flach with another chance to get the ball in the box, though. Again, her cross is behind everyone. Plattner stepped out well there just to win the ball back quickly. That ball recovery time for Essen. Positive in that moment as Laura Puchs put under pressure. Loose pass, but almost worked out. Paula Flach looking for that little back heel. Wins it back well there, and Ramona Meyer will pick up the pieces, but well played there by Mia Schmidt. Potsdam looking to push out, but Essen keeping them pinned in. Puchla, one-on-one with Viarden. One thought in her mind. That drive to the byline. Not a bad cross, but as with many of the balls into the Potsdam box, it's failed to find an Essen player. Now though, Puchla again to the byline. Ramona Meyer. Ramona Meyer stabs at goal and turned away by Vanessa Fischer. That's the best chance of the game so far for either side, but Essen still carrying the greater sense of danger in the final third, and Lily Puchla right now at the heart of every promising moment for the visiting side. Ramona Meyer didn't have a lot to work with there at the near post as she tried to beat Vanessa Fischer. Have to settle for the corner, the visitors now. Third of the game. Paula Flach. Ramona Meyer. Incredible hold-up play there by Ramona Meyer. Natasha Kowalski just beats the marker. Lovely ball in, it's the opening goal. Annalena Rieke heading home as Essen break the deadlock. They've been chipping away at this stubborn Turbine Potsdam side, but now they have the breakthrough. Natasha Kowalski with a wonderful ball into the box. It just needed a touch, and Annalena Rieke provides it. The shape on this delivery, the type of thing that Ed Sheeran sings about. But it made life all so easy for Rieke in front of goal as she gets her third of the season to join Kowalski at the top of Essen's goal-scoring charts. How important that opening goal could be on a night where Turbine Potsdam were hoping to put their first points of the season on the board. They've made a positive start in many regards. Yes, Essen have still looked dangerous in front of goal, but Essen looked dangerous in front of goal against any team in Germany's top flight, perhaps with the exception of Bayern München. Potsdam will have known they couldn't quell the threat for the full 90 minutes. It really was about surviving a few scares here and there and maybe hoping for a lucky punch at the other end themselves. Instead, now that confident start has taken a blow. Kowalski with her third assist of the season to go along with the 3 goals she's already scored. Looking for another here. She's released Elmatzi in behind. It's a quick-fire double for the visitors. Natasha Kowalski, again the creator. This time, Lauretta Elmatzi, the grateful recipient, as she opens her account for the season to double Essen's advantage. a bitter pill to swallow for Turbine Potsdam. But after Essen have been so patient, they have now rewarded themselves with 2 goals in quick succession. And this is a fine finish from Marathi, just opening the foot up to find the bottom corner after a wonderful ball from Kowalski to split the lines. She really is the creative fulcrum extraordinaire for this Essen side. Only with 1 win to their name this season, now on course for a second.
Sicher, klar! Sehr gut! Alina, Aufbau! Und wieder klares Vorspiel, komm! Viele Kontakte, komm, da!
Again, Essen looking to use Purchler down that right wing where they have had a lot of joy and success so far. The home fans still trying to get behind their side. They are loyal to a fault. Tell you what, our referee tonight, Julia Boyka, is having absolutely no nonsense from either set of players, it has to be said. But clearly taking a close look at how players are tangling in the box from these set-piece situations. It's going to be Kowalski with an outswinger as opposed to Flach with an in-swinger now. Goes low, flicked on. Rika's there. Chance now for Almaty. But the door closed quickly, just crowded out at the vital moment there by a sea of blue shirts who determined to recover from the quick-fire double scored by Essen. But when you're already low on confidence coming into a game like tonight, and then you pick yourselves up to produce a positive opening gambit, only to see it come to nothing, can't be easy for these Turbine Potsdam players as they look to make the step up into Germany's top flight after a year in the second tier where they were crowned champions. 55 points, 17 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. That being said, though, they did have the worst attacking record of any team in the top half of the table in Germany's second tier, and unfortunately that's translating into Germany's top tier as well, where again tonight, for all the positivity we can talk about, they're yet to have a shot on goal in this game and are behind in pretty much every statistical department they could be against this SGS Essen side, who now have the cushion of a 2-goal lead to work with. Now Noah Selimhodzic. Out wide it goes to Kravchik. Cross cut out, and it's a corner for the hosts, given the fact that they've produced virtually nothing from open play. Just over 5 minutes remaining in this first half, perhaps the first corner of the game. Fight and win is the chant there from the home support. I mean, look at that, though. For a side that haven't scored all season, they're not exactly committing a lot of players into the danger area there. It is going to be Jennifer Kramer to take the corner. In at the near post. Winkler came and didn't really get there. Ping ball in the box, and Winkler does have to make a save in the end. Appeals for a handball there from the Turbine Potsdam players as well. And I can understand where the shouts are coming from. It's this touch here from Laura Pux as she just turned her shoulder towards the ball, but admittedly I think it came off the shoulder and not the arm in the end. This will give us a better look. I tell you what, it's one of those where if Julia Boyka had pointed to the spots, there would have been few arguments against the decision. In the end, it's just another corner that Potsdam have to settle for. And now it's 3 in quick succession. But all of a sudden, a side that have had little threats almost found a goal. They are still waiting for their first of the season. We are now 515 minutes and counting, dating back to last season. And the 2-1 win against Ingolstadt on the final day of the campaign that secured the title for Turbine Potsdam. This corner dealt with, put back in the mix though, and that wasn't a bad effort from Zara Ito. Couple of corners, couple of half chances in quick succession there, and one really good save from Sophia Winkler. Does show that there are signs of life yet for this Turbine Potsdam side. Bit of a heavy fall there for Lina Viaden. Just a moment there for Marcus Högner and his side to consider, though, in terms of the context of this game. Yes, they're sitting pretty comfortable with a 2-0 lead, given the fact that they had limited this Potsdam side to not a single shot on goal in the first 40 minutes. A good press applied there by Karolina Kravchik. Shows that they're not exactly waving the white flag yet, Kurt Gross's side, and he is still preaching bravery from the sidelines. Loose touch there, and Lauretta Almazi is onto it in a flash. Ramona Meyer to her left, trying to work the channels. Ramona Meyer to the byline she goes, and corner drawn by Ramona Ramos Meyer. It really is showing exactly what she's all about in this game. She has had that one chance from a very tight angle when the scores were still stuck at 0-0. But her work off the ball and on the ball, admittedly, in terms of the hold-up play, is so important for this Essen side. Because without her, you would not see the talents of Elmatzi, Kowalski and Puchla flourish as much as they have. They need the workhorse up front in Ramona Meyer. Kowalski now with the corner. That's a very dangerous delivery. And they will get another corner for their efforts here, Essen. Director seems to suggest that Paulina Plattner was the closest to getting on the end of that corner. This one's taken short. Puchla able to turn the corner after a bit of a slip. Puchla headed clear and behind for another corner. And these are now racking up for SGS Essen. Sixth of the game now for the visitors. Another very good delivery, and Fischer's under pressure. Ramos Meyer sees her shot blocked in a crowded penalty area once again. Kowalski, will the second chance be just as dangerous as the opening goal? Not on that occasion. Puchla with the press and forces the mistake out of Karolina Kravchik. A nice bit of politeness there between Lauretta Almazi and the ball boy. Always nice to say your please and thank yous. Your bitters and your dankers here in Germany. Lara Pux out of position now, but Kowalski scrapping away in midfield to retain possession for Essen. That is something they have done well in this first half, beyond the opening 2 goals they've scored. The ability to turn the ball over quickly again after losing it has certainly played in their favour. Just 1 minute added on at the end of this first half. No real stoppages to speak of. You can see Kurt Rus there. Talking to one of his substitutes, perhaps suggesting he might think about a half-time change. In many ways, the first half an hour played out exactly how Potsdam would have wanted it to. They frustrated Essen, they limited their chances. 2 goals in quick succession have completely changed the complexion of this game. Well, Essen had to be patient in an engaging first half, but after being frustrated by Turbine Potsdam, Annalena Rika and Lauretta Almazi popped up with 2 goals in quick succession to put the visitors in a commanding position at half-time against the Turbine Potsdam side without a point and without a goal to their name this season. It is Turbine Potsdam 0, Essen 2 at half-time.
Und die Ecken legen. Und Lilly hat ihn später abgezogen, weil ich voll sauer Den hat also Vanessa drauf.
Alia! Bis du noch gekommen bist.
Nee, ich hab noch was. Nach dem Rabatt beendet ist dann aber auch wieder. Was denn? Ich wurde nicht angefangen. Ich hab ach so. Angefügt. Nein! Ach, hier bin ich ausgeschlossen. Aber alles gut, ich bin perfekt. Ich hab immer mal stehen, wo man morgen treffen soll. 11 Uhr. Na, an der mal gucken, ob ich Handy bin. Ja, ich bin Handy. Geht halt auch nicht in der Teamfoto.
Jetzt ist meine Hose dreckig.
Kommst du auf?
Ich hab den vorhin gar nicht bekommen. Nein. Irgendwie werden wir immer enger.
Ja, okay, ich bin entkommen gerade.
Ja,
So,
erst wieder gehen.
ja,
Sorry, aber.
hat dein Vater auch gesagt. Ja.
Finde ich auch. Das passt jetzt.
Das können wir.
Bin ich auch sicher.
Das ist echt ein schönes Dreieck, wollte ich so mal sagen.
Ja, Baby.
Können wir alle ja ausschließen?
Ganz
Ja, ja. Können wir alle... Ja, da. Das hat die extra angezogen. Die meinte, im Dunkeln sieht man das nicht.
Ja, gibt ja auch kein Flutlicht, ne?
Da sieht man das eh nicht.
Ja, man guckt nicht auf deine Schuhe, alles gut.
Ja.
Auf was? Jetzt hab ich Angst.
Alea, kannst du noch ein paar Movi... Was kann ich? Movi üben mit? Mach mal vor. Ja, klar.
Kannst du gucken?
Um unsere Schultern zu mobilisieren, müssen wir alle ganz die Arme locker lassen und den Kopf runterhängen lassen. Hast du irgendwas mit meinen Händen machen lassen?
Ja, das war einfach so.
Das geht nicht, meine Hände. Reibung erzeugt. Wo hast du das gelernt? In welchem Unterricht?
Wer wusste es noch nicht, die Frage?
Oder über uns. Helly hat heute 6 bekommen. Weil sie was sie abgegeben hat.
Wer?
Helly! LLR!
Wen habt ihr? Glaubt ihr, wen habt ihr?
Frau Schneider? Frau Schneider.
Wer ist das?
Ja, die Biolehrerin, die mich nicht
Oh
leiden
Gott.
kann. Ah, das ist
Die kann
ich habe die gesagt hat, die Aufgabe wirklich bewertet und sie dann doch bewertet hat.
die
Das war mein schönes Knie.
Oh, das ist ja
Ja, Digga, es macht halt gar keinen Sinn. Jetzt sind wir Hefterkontrolliert, so wie in der dritten Klasse, oder?
Ja,
Was passiert, wenn ich...
uns da auch noch Hefterkontrollen sein. Hey, das sollte letztes Jahr auch gemacht. Ja, aber wurde nie gemacht.
Mann, Digga, der eine macht das nicht. Also ein geheimes Wort nicht. Der eine macht das eh nicht.
Ey Leute, mein
Alle
Alter, was die sind.
Alea, kannst du uns neue Kommandos beibringen?
Was willst du?
Schneller.
Die sind doch alt.
Alea, und immer in jeder Aktion auch, wie nennt man das? Kommando mitgeben.
Ach, okay. Also, ja, ich weiß nicht, so alt ist. Wenn du spielst, dann mit Kommando.
Und am besten immer noch an
zeigen alle, ja. Ja, und ich habe der Wahl bekannt. Ja. Was ist? Das ist kein Wasser. Das ist kein Wasser.
Hello and welcome back everyone to this Friday evening encounter, kicking off affairs on matchday 6 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga, and we're doing so with a clash of the two pure women's teams left in Germany's top flight. Turbine Potsdam without a point and still without a goal this season through 45 minutes here tonight, and right now it's not shaping up as if they might pick up their first points of the season. They have made a change at half-time as Maya Hahn comes on for Elisa Grinchenko. Kurt Russ reacting to the fact that his side are 2-0 down coming into the second half here on home soil. And Maya Hahn will be the fresh legs, and maybe a change of system. We'll have to keep an eye on things. No changes for Marcus Högner's side. He'll be pleased with the fact that his side were patient through the first 30 minutes and then 2 goals in quick succession, courtesy of Annalena Rieker, and Lauretta Almaty have fashioned his side a relatively comfortable 2-0 lead, though they won't want to rest on their laurels in this second half, which is now underway at the Karl Liebknecht Stadion. Cheap concession of possession. I think you heard the reaction there from Kurt Russ on the sidelines, the new head coach for the home side. Again, a loose touch that time from Noah Zelimhodic, drawing the gasps and grunts from her head coach. And that has been a problem for Potsdam in this game, is gaining a little bit of purchase and being able to settle into a calm phase of play. Easier said than done at the highest level, and they are learning that the hard way. Yes, this is a side with incredible tradition. 6-time German champions before reunification in 1990. 6-time German champions after. And before their relegation in 2023, they had produced 4 straight top 4 finishes in the Frauen Bundesliga. And that is why the relegation was a shock to the system. But ultimately, they had been papering over the cracks for quite a while, Turbine Potsdam, especially when it came to adapting to life in the modern times of football, where other sides ultimately closed the gap that Potsdam used to have. The advantage gobbled up by other teams, and as a result, Turbine Potsdam were left behind due to their reluctance to adapt. While they did return at the first time of asking, this is still a club that are not too far removed from an existential crisis. After all, if you go on their club website, there is still a link to a GoFundMe account on the page, launched by one of their members, a man by the name of Sebastian, who was calling on the Turbine family to help keep the club afloat after that relegation. They managed to raise over 50,000 euros. The aim and target still is $250,000. But their immediate return back to the top flight is certainly something that has helped stave off the financial crisis that the club are facing. And given the fact that the Frauen Bundesliga will be expanding to 14 teams next season, there is just 1 team at the end of the current campaign who will be relegated. It's an incredible opportunity for a side like Turbine Potsdam, who may well have faced an immediate return to the second tier in a normal campaign where 2 teams are normally relegated. But the fact that they need to just leave 1 team behind them means that even after 5 straight losses to start the season, even having gone their whole time back in the Frauen Bundesliga without a goal so far, and that might change from this corner, because it was from a corner that they came closest to getting a goal themselves Sophia Winkler producing a magnificent save to deny Mia Schmidt. Jennifer Kramer will take. Low driven in at the front post, and now actually a chance for Essen to break. This might go down the other end if they can go through the gears quickly. Puchler, she's got El Matzi in the middle. Ball was just a little late, and then in the end inaccurate as well. Disappointing there from Lily Puchler, who was the source of so much positivity in the first half for SGS Essen. Between her and Natasha Kowalski, they were the ones providing all the creative threat. And still the chant from the home crowd. A sparse one on this Friday night is "Let's go Potsdam, fight and win." Butchler's cross is blocked behind for a corner. Essen with a row of runners on the edge of the Potsdam box, ready to attack this Kowalski corner. But Vanessa Fischer with some commanding goalkeeping and looking to spring the counter-attack, so the pass needed to be better there. Seemed rather rushed, actually. Whether Noah Zelimojic had actually made the run required to provide the threat. But to complete the point I was making about Turbine Potsdam, yes, they've lost all 5 games. Yes, they're still yet to score. But a look at the Frauen Bundesliga standings. Karl Zeiss Jena with just 1 point from 5 games. Köln with just 1 point from 5 games. Ultimately, it looks like that might be the relegation battle between those 3 sides. I guess the question really is, how few points might be enough this season to survive for another campaign? Natasha Kowalski, 2 assists already tonight. 7 goal involvements already this season through now 6 matches for Natasha Kowalski. She provided 7 goals and 9 assists in the previous campaign. It's 3 goals and 4 already this season. And you've got to think Essen are going to have a really tough job on their hands to keep her on their books if she continues to maintain this pretty impressive level of performance. Because doing it for 1 season is one thing when you're still in your early 20s. 21 years of age, in fact, Natasha Kowalski. But it's another to do it for back-to-back seasons, which she seems to be doing so far. Oh, now the chance on the turn! Oh! A matter of inches in it for Noah Zelimojic. Wonderful snapshot had Sophia Winkler incredibly worried, and she wouldn't have got there had this crept under the bar. So wonderful effort on the turn as well. The technique needed to just control that. That is the closest Zelimojic has come tonight to shouldering the goal-scoring responsibilities, as she will have been tasked with, being named in the starting lineup. Like her strike partner, Ina Tazlica, he has had little to work with But you combine that moment maybe with the moment in the first half where Mia Schmidt had that effort saved by Sophia Winkler. After a bit of a goal-mouth scramble. And those are the types of moments that Essen head coach Markus Höckler was talking about when talking about Turbine Potsdam, saying that they have lacked a little bit of luck at times. Did highlight that they are always a side who are good for an upset, especially when they have the home fans behind them. And Essen have done well to steer clear of that for the most part, though. There are chances for the home side to open their account. You just wonder whether tonight might be the night for that first goal of the season. It might not result in them taking a share of the spoils, because they need two unanswered right here, as ball into the box is dangerous and skips through. And follow-up effort from Zara Ito, her second from distance this evening. Dragged just wide.
Loretta wieder vorne neben Ramos. Wieder rein.
Becca Sterner, closed down by Limani.
Meier! Du rein! Ja! Erster Ball!
Kowalski. A rare errant pass there from Natasha Kowalski, but they do happen on occasion. Another moment there for Turbine Potsdam that has that momentary spark of promise that ultimately comes to very little in the end. Story of their evening, story of their season so far, and ultimately they don't want it to be the story they continue to pen through to match day 22. Lily Purchela. Oh, lovely cutback, and Elmatzi took it first time, drags wide. A few words shared with Jennifer Kramer afterwards. Didn't see anything overly untoward in the mix there, but clearly the experienced Jennifer Kramer has taken exception to her younger counterpart, Nareta Elmatzi. A little coming together after the shot went wide from our scorer of the second goal this evening. Perhaps Jennifer Kramer just letting out some frustrations at the way yet another game is going, where her side are putting in the work and getting so little reward for it. Drop of the shoulder there from Annalena Enrique. Ball to break the lines into Ramona Meyer. The thing is, Essen are in a very comfortable position with this 2-0 lead, ultimately coming up against a side that haven't scored yet this season. But one goal could change the complexion entirely, and Becca Sterner looking to maybe put this beyond doubt. That could be a penalty given the late challenge after the cross, waved away by Julia Boyka. So I think there really is a case to be answered there, because the ball was well gone when the challenge came in on Becker Sterner. Risk run there by Kurt Russ's side. Let's see if we can get a look at this again. It's just a bit unnecessary from Lena Viaden as she just tried to get the block in on the cross. Now Rika playing in Ramona Meyer. Shut down initially, digs out the cross. Finds Kowalski on the turn, deflected. And Essen extend their lead to 3. As Natasha Kowalski, the provider for the first 2 goals, turns goal scorer herself. Make it 4 for the season. And on the hour mark, Essen putting this game beyond reach. Potsdam will end match day 6 without a point unless they can find a miraculous comeback. And the only question remaining is, will Essen follow in the footsteps of Bayern München, Werder Bremen, Eintracht Frankfurt, Leipzig and Freiburg in keeping a clean sheet against the newly promoted second-tier champions? But she has been the star of the show, Natasha Kowalski. Absolutely no doubt about it. 4 goals to go along now with her 4 assists as well. I mean, you really feel 21 years of age. The potential is undeniable. The question really is, how high could the ceiling be for Natasha Kowalski? And maybe the other question is, how long can Essen hold on to her services? Corner for Turbine Potsdam. Don't want to be patronising to the home side, but getting a goal would almost be a small moral victory for them tonight in the context of their start to the season. But that is ultimately the scraps that they are working with, unfortunately, for this storied traditional side. Well, Winkler able to tidy that one up quite comfortably.
Weiter!
50-50 goes Essen's way. And it's not to say that heads have dropped in the Potsdam ranks, but there's a little less gusto in them, I was going to say. And then Limani perhaps looks to prove me wrong. Unfortunately, Annalena Rika had other ideas. Kowalski with arguably her riskiest pass of the evening there. She put quite a lot on that to Sophia Winkler, but such is the confidence she has in her goalkeeper. Call for the long ball. It's a lovely one from Vanessa Fursten. What a layoff from Elmatzi to Purchela. Purchela now looks to return the favour. Elmatzi forced wide. She's got Meyer in the middle. Wonderful play from the visitors. Thumbs up from Meyer. Just not the goal that she would have hoped to provide. Still, her account remains unopened in the current campaign.
Tiefe! Bleib stabil, Vanessa, bleib stabil! Ja!
You can tell Essen aren't exactly taking their foot off the pedal based on the way they were chasing that ball down. Of course, they were the clear favourites coming into tonight's encounter based on Turbine Potsdam's form, but they almost have a little point to prove themselves. Essen, yes, they were the surprise package last season. Matching their fourth place finish would be another incredible result, but it's certainly not a foregone conclusion. I think they'd be quite happy with another top half of the table finish. The Ruhrpott side. The difficulty for them is that wins against Karsai Siena, wins against Turbine Potsdam have to be the routine ones if they really want to kind of build on the foundation that they fashioned last season. Then it's in other games that they really need to be chipping away at points. And so far this season, they haven't quite had the rub of the green against the top sides. You look at the 2-1 loss to Hoffenheim on the opening day of the campaign, a 2-0 loss to Leverkusen, and then the most recent 3-1 defeat to Frankfurt. Yes, very promising positive phases in all of those games where they matched those teams for long spells, but ultimately on the losing side in all three games. And last season, that wasn't necessarily the case because they were the surprise package. They were the team that sometimes were upsetting the odds against sides from the top half of the table. You look at their record, 3 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses against the teams that they shared the top 6 spots with. Those 3 wins, 1 against Eintracht Frankfurt, 2 against Hoffenheim. They did the league double against them. The 2 draws were against Bayer Leverkusen. And then the defeats ultimately in back-to-back games against Wolfsburg and Bayern. And then the other against Frankfurt, as we see here. Laura Lindner brought on for Valentina Limani, who has been a sprightly figure on the right wing for Turbine Potsdam. But now is replaced for the closing stages of this game. A bit of pressure for Vanessa first to deal with, but she did so magnificently. That was Markus Herkner on the sidelines, praising Paulina Plattner for her fighting spirit there in retaining possession. 18 years old, signed from Frankfurt's reserve side, scored in her Frauen Bundesliga debut against Karsai Siena in that 2-0 win. Now making her 3rd appearance of the season tonight, and you can see why she is so highly thought of in these Essen ranks. Not necessarily a natural replacement for Katarina Piljic, who joined by Leverkusen, but she has similar qualities, at least in the defensive side of the game. Piljic's passing profile is one of the best in the league in many opinions. So that alone is hard to replace, especially for someone as unproven as Paulina Plattner. Birchler again on the receiving end of a foul. Not her first time tonight. Kowalski. Well, absolutely no one's aimed for there, so don't know who she spotted. All pressure for Fischer to deal with, but I've got to say she did well there with a very awkward ball to handle.
Sarah.
Becca Sterner forced to play it all the way back to Sophia Winkler, who doesn't take her chances by punting it long, and Puchler there. Just infringing upon the rules of the game in the eyes of Julia Boyker, our referee. Just going through the back of Zara Ito there. Goes long, Sophia Winkler with a very commanding piece of goalkeeping there. The Essen shot stopper, who always puts her right glove on first and her right shin pad, part of her pre-match ritual. Sterner just sending it round the corner for the run of Loretta Almaty, who wants support in the middle. First cross is blocked. She's going to get another chance at it, but a little too close to Vanessa Fischer, who again goes for that drop kick. Long ball, looking to spring the counter-attack, but given the fact that Ena Tazlica there was 1-on-4 against the Essen back line, not sure that was necessarily the right approach. Becca Sterner, lovely bit of play. Maya had her back to goal. It's going to come to Almaty, just didn't sit up for her. Instead, Sterner, well, goes for a first-time effort that goes well wide. Lily Puchler getting the call there from Markus Höckner. And it's Anja Pflüger coming on for the final, just under 20 minutes remaining here. Potential injury here to Lina Viaden, the Turbine Potsdam left back. Might force Kurt Russ into more changes. Two made already, with Maya Hahn and Laura Lindner coming on. Well, again, not much for the Karl Liebknecht Stadion crowd to cheer about. Turbine Potsdam boasting an attendance of over 1,000 for each home game, and I think it's fair to say that they probably maintain that average here tonight as well. These fans have gone through a lot with this club and are not exactly about to turn their backs on them when they are in the top tier once again, no matter how tough times might get. One head coaching change already. It's going to be a long and testing season. But again, you look at last campaign, Duisburg finishing bottom of the table with 4 points, Nuremberg then second from bottom with 15. But then the question really is, how many points will be needed to stay up this season, given how difficult they have been to come by for Turbine Potsdam, Karl Zeiss Jena and Köln. How many can they really realistically rack up before the end of the campaign? Got to think, I don't think it'll be double digits needed, as we see Jennifer Kramer there with a pretty cynical challenge on Loretta Almaty. We saw those two have a few words earlier, and Jennifer Kramer, maybe they're getting the last word, but getting a booking for her troubles. Concession of possession there by Laura Pux. Very uncharacteristic, and Maya Hahn's on the run. Number 2, Jennifer Kramer, shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. Went to ground a little too easily, tried to keep possession, and now Paulina Plattner with the clearance into touch. Kurt Russ there reacting to the injury to Lina Viaden. Had to make 2 changes. Flavia Lucia, young Swiss defender. Placement. Meanwhile, Cornelia Graszewska also enters the fray for the closing exchanges. Lovely play by Paulina Plattner. Just tried it one time too many though, and almost gave it away in a very dangerous area. Turbine Potsdam couldn't turn it into anything, and now a lovely turn from Kowalski. Lovely outside of the boot pass. Myers in the middle of Elmatzi, wants to find her. Elmatzi brought to ground with a slip though, and finds Kowalski with the pass, who just waited on it too long. As a result, a very promising moment for Essen to maybe add a 4th. Comes to nothing in the end. Yeah, for Turbine Potsdam, you've got to think that their season is ultimately going to be defined by their games against Karl Zeiss Jena and Köln. Their next home game is against Jena on the 2nd of November. Meanwhile, they face Köln on home soil on match day 11 at the start of December. You've got to say, they could lose every other game in the first half of the season, but if they win those 2, they probably won't be bottom of the table. Ramona Meyer bundling her way through, but ultimately shut down by Flavia Lucia. Kowalski found Annalena Rieker once again, and it was that combination that produced the opening goal for SGS Essen to start breaking the resistance that Turbine Potsdam were trying to provide in this game. In many regards, Essen now primarily playing for the clean sheet. A test of their composure and conviction to see this game out without conceding. Nice ball forward. Played back now to Mia Schmidt. Charles Brewing here for the home side. Lovely run round the corner. In the end, Karolina Kravchik has to settle for a corner. Corner, Puck's header, Pflüger trying to bring the ball down in a unwise area. Potential foul there on Almaty, who gets one back quickly. Bernhardt and Almaty, and Julia Boyka intervenes, and the free kick is going to go the way of the home side. I mean, that was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, if we're being honest. There's nothing untoward in that. It really should have been a handball against Emilia Bernhardt, if we're honest. I think that was the point that Natasha Kowalski was making, but now a free kick for Essen to defend. 10 minutes of normal time remaining at the Karl Liebknecht Stadion. It's in the mix. And again, I tell you what, it's another scare that Essen have survived, and it's not the first one tonight, but in those goalmouth scrambles, Potsdam are getting their feet on the ball. They're just not really getting a lot of power behind these follow-up rebound efforts, and as a result, Sophia Winkler, in moments where she could have been truly tested from close range, is breathing a very heavy sigh of relief, I'm sure, when plucking the ball out of the air. Right now, Lauretta Almaty. A look at her wonderful effort to make it 2-0 for Essen, set up by Kowalski's wonderful through ball, but a fine finish into that bottom corner. She is replaced by Cassandra Pozzi. For the last few minutes of this Friday night encounter. 3 goals, nothing to turn our noses up at as we raise the curtain on matchday 6 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Might have been another goal in it had Ramona Meyer's first touch been better there, but she's bailed out by Paulina Plattner. Oh, then crunching challenge from Bernhardt on Meyer. Won back well by Fürst after a long ball, and it's got a bit scrappy for a moment. Becky Stenner now just trying to settle things on this right wing. Goes past Bernhardt and draws the free kick. Nice little bit of play there from the Essen captain, standing in for Jacqueline Meissner, who is still out injured, so too the experienced Lena Ostermeier. And their absence has been felt in these opening fixtures of the season. And now Pflüger sees her free kick plucked out of the air by Fischer. A few bodies hit the ground, Kramer and Meyer. Unsurprising, really, to see those two tangling. Again, Essen win it well in midfield. Kowalski takes charge. Four goals, 4 assists this season for Natasha Kowalski. No player has been involved in more goals as Pozzi wins it well, and then, oh goodness me, Bernhardt is taking a very no-nonsense approach to the closing exchanges here, almost as if she's taken offence to the fact that Essen have scored 3 times tonight. Meyer gets the corner. And if Bernhardt's a no-nonsense defender, then Ramona Meyer is a no-nonsense striker. Question is, when will her first goal of the season come? She talked about the debut campaign she had in the Frauen Bundesliga being a dream come true. Feels she's really asserted herself at the highest level. Now Kowalski. Corner met by Books, but it's a glancing header that's dealt with by Fischer. Again, she's looking for that early outlet. This time the drop kick hits an Essen player who's gone prone to the floor, having had the wind knocked out of her, but the play will go on here with Kravchik. It was Becky Sterner, the Essen captain, who was on the receiving end of that Fischer clearance. As a result, Sophia Winkler here, the Essen goalkeeper, just taking a few seconds off the clock to allow the status quo to be returned. More praise for Paulina Plattner there from the sidelines. I think if the opening half an hour, if all the frustrations were Essen's, since then all the frustrations have been Potsdam's, because again they've invested a lot in this game with very little reward. The 50-50s have often gone Essen's way. Those vital fine margins have rarely favoured them. That being said, a side that now over 500 minutes and counting without a goal. Sophia Winkler making one really tough save from close range in the first half to deny Mia Schmidt, and then it was Noah Selim-Horjic who had the snapshot from the edge of the area that fizzed just over the bar. With that exception, Turbine Potsdam have once again struggled to muster up much attacking threat. Again, I don't think their expected goals value will have crossed the 1 expected goal mark. And now, given away cheaply, Portsy wins it, and Kowalski stopped, but the play brought back for a foul by Julia Boyke, who is now having a word with Emilia Bernhardt about maybe the fact that the fouls are racking up for the summer signing from Werder Bremen. Talked about the whole city being behind the club when joining Turbine Potsdam. And now Paulina Plattner rewarded for another fine performance in the Essen ranks with an early exit as Julia Debicki is coming on. Paula Flach also making way, as is Ramona Meyer. So it's a triple change for the home side. So it's Emily Jöster, Julia Debicki and Jette ter Horst making her SGS Essen debut since joining from Karl Zeiss Jena in the summer. Off the bench to see this one out. Pressure applied, but Essen cope with it well. And they've now found the space to exploit out wide on the left. Debicki, first time pass, right idea. The execution, though, favouring Vanessa Fischer. Ball goes all the way through to the Potsdam goalkeeper. 15 goals conceded in 4 games in Germany's top flight this season. It was Anna Terstieni who started the campaign between the sticks. But Vanessa Fischer, the recognised number 1. Nearing 100 appearances for the club, 97, including tonight's. Still, Essen scrapping away. Kowalski, Portsy and Debicki ultimately not able to retain possession as Sterner's then penalised for a tug of the shirt on Noah Selim-Horjic. Seemed like a generous foul to concede, and now Sterner and Selim-Horjic have afters as well. Long ball to chase, and corner for Turbine Potsdam. Could there be a goal left in it for the home side? And that minor moral victory that would come with it. Change of angle, ball into the mix. Again, pin ball in the box, but it is cleared by Essen. There has been some panicky defending, that's how you can describe it from the visitors when dealing with these set pieces, but the panic is and has often been quickly averted. Kluger slow to close down, and now little ball over the top. And they're going to get another corner on the cusp of the end of normal time. Wait to see how many minutes will be added on. See there for Turbine Potsdam, it really is those two games against Jena and Köln here on home soil, match day 8 and match day 11. The defining ones for them in the first half of the season, the Hinrunde as they call it here in Germany. Any other points are bonus points from Potsdam's perspective, as Jennifer Kramer will again look to put this corner in the mix for the home team. 3 minutes of time added on at the end of the 90. Well, Pux, not with the most convincing piece of defending there from the corner, and as a result they'll get another here, Essen. Again, Essen win the defensive header. Portsy couldn't quite spring the counter-attack. And then again, it was a solo mission. Awkward bounce in midfield, but cycled back to Sara Ito. It doesn't get any easier for Essen. Match day 7 against Wolfsburg. Still got to face Bayern as well, but both of those games on home soil in the first half of the season. But again, those are the games in their campaign. They would want to take all 9 points from those games against Bremen, Leipzig and Freiburg, though. Those games coming before a DFB Pokal round of 16 tie against Borussia Mönchengladbach on foreign soil. Second tier side to be faced in Germany's Seoul Cup competition. Turbine Potsdam still in the competition as well. They are also on foreign soil. They will be taking on Bayer Leverkusen, though, a much sterner test if they want to reach the quarterfinals of that competition. Is there another goal left in it? Could it come for Essen? Kowalski has been involved in all 3, but not a 4th, with a pass that was telegraphed there. It has broken for Bernhardt. One last salvo, perhaps, from those in blue. Delim Hodzic looking for the through ball, and it's dangerous and a risky challenge, but it's a corner. Puck's got enough of the ball. Going in on Laura Lindner. Excuse me, Annalena Rieker. It was. And I tell you what, I don't think she got any of the ball.
Come.
No, she whiffs at the ball. That should have been a penalty. Potsdam denied at the last, and then by Sophia Winkler as well. Oh, dear me. Well, now you do feel for the home team. They were one decision away there from potentially getting a goal that would have opened their account for the season. It would have been a small consolation at the end of another tough night at the office for them, but they are once again denied. And a tough start to the season gets all the tougher for Turbine Potsdam. Make that 6 losses out of a potential 6, still without a goal to their name. But credit to Essen, who flexed their creative flair. Natasha Kowalski was the star of the show, involved in all 3 goals, setting up the first 2, scoring the 3rd, and Essen returning to winning ways with a 3-0 win against Turbine Potsdam. Well, very much a case of job done for the visiting side, but what another demoralising, deflating experience for Turbine Potsdam. Here on home soil, they hoped to potentially put their first points of the season on the board. Instead, it is a familiar story once again as they draw a blank in front of goal, as they leave a blank in the points column of the Frauen Bundesliga standings. They are sat in 12th place And now there is a chance potentially this weekend for Karlsruhe Siena and Köln to move further clear of them at the foot of the table. But our winners tonight are SGS Essen, and after that 3-1 defeat to Eintracht Frankfurt last time out, where Markus Högner, their head coach, said that 60 minutes weren't good enough to take a share of the spoils on that occasion. Tonight, his side's performance over 90 minutes certainly were deserving of all 3 points. He said he wanted his team to maintain the mindset they had against Eintracht Frankfurt, one that he really liked. And I think it's fair to say they did exactly that. And he was confident that should they manage to maintain that mindset, they would take all 3 points home with them to the Ruhrpott, and that's exactly what they have done. Second win of the season, both coming against the newly promoted sides from the second tier. The first against Karlsruhe Siena, 2-0. Tonight, 3-0 against Turbine Potsdam, who will point to that late decision and be right in saying they should have had a penalty. Annalena Rieke went to ground against Laura Lindner and did not get the ball, but did clip the heels of the Potsdam striker. It would have been a consolation, but given the way this season is turning out for Turbine Potsdam, a consolation would have potentially gone a long way for them. In the end, Essen are no doubt good value for their victory tonight, as the statistics prove there. Moves them temporarily up into 7th place, so 3 points this weekend, not enough to move them into the top half of the table, but it might be enough to close the gap on the teams above them. For Kurt Russ, the first game in charge was always going to be a difficult one. He said the first week was undoubtedly intense, and this game was intense as well. The chances were few and far between for his charges, but there are positives I'm sure he will point to that they maybe can work with moving forward in games that ultimately will define their season. Next up, they're on the road against Hoffenheim. So again, a game in which any points won there would be a significant bonus. But then the next home game against Karlsruhe Siena, win that one, and the complexion of their season changes entirely. Right now we get to revisit the highlights of this game and marvel at what was a magnificent cross from Natasha Kowalski. Annalena Rieke with a lovely run in behind. She scored her 3rd goal of the season to go along with the efforts she scored against Hoffenheim and Köln. Kowalski was then the provider for this Lauretta Elmatzi goal. It was her first of the campaign. And a wonderful finish as well. Just opening up the body and the boot to find a way past Vanessa Fischer. And it was a quick-fire double for Essen that put them in a commanding position. This effort from Noah Selim-Hordic was as close as Turbine Potsdam came in the second half. Otherwise, Sophia Winkler had a very quiet night at the office as she picked up her 2nd clean sheet of the season between the sticks for SGS Essen. And while they didn't quite play with as much purpose as they did in the first half, Essen still found a way to extend their lead further before the hour mark as Natasha Kowalski chipped in with a goal of her own after 2 earlier assists to really underline her influence in this team. She was the standout performer, as she so often is for Markus Högner's side, and while there was a weighty deflection on it to help that one through for the 3rd, it was no less deserved for the travelling side. These were the moments that Turbine Potsdam just weren't able to capitalise on. Panicky moments in the Essen box from set pieces when open play really was providing little or no avenue to goal. But unfortunately, even a few hairy moments from set pieces and a sharp save at the near post at the last from Sophia Winkler. There was to be no rewards for the investment Turbine Potsdam made. They are 555 minutes and counting without a goal. And the question is when that first effort will finally arrive. Because they're not undeserving of a goal, but tonight, once again, they weren't deserving of all 3 points. And that was the case in their defeats against Bayern, Bremen, Frankfurt, Leipzig. Same story again against Essen. But as we've highlighted throughout tonight's game, the question really is how many points will be enough to survive this season? 3 points, 6 points, 9 points, 12. I mean, double digits feels like it might be generous the way things are shaping up as we take a look at the standings. A big fat 0 in the points column and a big fat 0 in the goals column for Turbine Potsdam. But again, all is not lost. As long as Karlsruhe Siena and Köln don't start picking up points, Potsdam will still be within touching distance of survival. For now, James Thurgood, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company for this Friday night game under the floodlights. The final score, Turbine Potsdam 0, Essen 3.
Ich habe deswegen gesagt. Gut. Nee, ich habe das heute nur. Ich habe das heute nur mal. Ich habe heute meinen schwarzen mal ein bisschen analysiert. Das ist ja schon vor der Saison nicht. Ich habe auch schon Bescheid gesagt, die haben mal gefragt, wenn jetzt die Liga dann schon wieder. Aber ich sage, Turbine ist vor vorne, dann habe ich dann noch gesagt, Turbine spielt, weil dann Iran Tourist die war. Und mit Volleyball kann ich sicher nicht Bescheid. Das ist ganz gut, weil sie gleich alle. Da habe ich gedacht, okay. Wo ist Stefan? Nee, aber das ist die Gästefänder, der kommt hoch. Der Weißer kommt nicht.
Tut mir leid heute.
Einmal zum RBB zu Interview.
Ja, leider, filmt da nichts.
Ciao, komm nach Hause.
Rolle sind.
Meine Hände sind eigentlich so eine Frage. Ja.
Hier. Rucksack lassen wir noch hier.
Ja. Deswegen mag ich es da hoch. Helfen sich. Kommt der nicht.
Vielleicht nicht weg ist.
Irgendwo ist gut.
Schön feucht geworden.